This is episode 43 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. There's still a few things that need hammered out on the Bengals roster, and we're going to talk about a little bit of unintentional drama that was stirred up by the new offensive line coach, Frank Pollock. The Browns, on the other hand, are having a remarkably quiet offseason, which is probably about as worthwhile a talking point as any. And finally, Steelers fans are insisting that things aren't as bad as they seem. Because why, Thomas?
Because Pittsburgh, the Steelers, their mamas. No, their mamas, all right. But you suck, Pittsburgh.
Because the Steelers still suck.
Pittsburgh still sucks.
Pittsburgh still sucks.
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
Before we get started today, I'm going to do this in the correct order. Thomas, are you drinking anything today?
Yeah, today I'm drinking a Coke and a Gatorade because I am a little bit under the weather. I need energy, so I'm not going to drink an energy drink. So I'm going to drink just a can of Coke because this is going to give me just the right amount of sugar. And in fact, I'm drinking sugar because I'm coming away from being sick. I'm drinking some Gatorade. Get my electrolytes up. And if it's not enough electrolytes, I have Pedialyte. And Pedialyte is the ultimate way to get your electrolytes up. So thank you, Pedialyte.
Fair enough. I got to be honest, you definitely seem way better than you did last week. Because you were sick, I edited the last episode. And I'm saying this for people who are listening, not for you, because you obviously know. But I edited the last episode, and as I was watching through it, I'm just sitting there watching. I'm like, my God, he sounds like he's dying.
Yeah, that was
awful.
I labored. I labor. I had, it's that ambition, baby. Wow, this is nasty, by the way.
Because it's not intended. And never mind.
Yeah. How do people drink that stuff? You mean good Gatorade? I never thought I'd say this, but you're great.
So I am not sick, and I am not working. So I am drinking today, and I've got Tiger, which Bengals Tiger. Last week I wanted to take a shot at Pittsburgh, so I got a Pittsburgh beer. This week, I don't know. Nothing particularly exciting going on with the Bengals. I just wanted to have the Tiger beer, get going, get in the mood.
And I make fun of the Detroit Tigers, who's in last place.
Acclaimed lager, which doesn't sound right to me because I don't think I'd ever heard of it until I saw it at Jungle Gems. But that's tasty though. That's like I can definitely see that, like, me not really knowing a whole lot about, I know enough about craft beers to talk about them on the show, but I'm not exactly some expert. So maybe it's not terribly surprising that I've never heard of it. So if it really is world acclaimed, I get it. That's tasty. It's very well balanced.
So you're not making fun of the Detroit Tigers because they are in last place in the American League Central. They're the only team that doesn't have a chance to win the American League Central right now.
Yeah, that baseball team sure is bad at baseball. Yeah. Hey, the Reds were good, I think. The Reds were doing good, and then they stopped.
Well, they did no hit the Indians.
Yeah. Take that.
And then lost 9-2 to the Indians the very next game. It's what the Indians do. Well, the Indians, you might know hit the Indians, but the Indians are still going to win 2 out of 3. They always win 2 out of 3. The Indians are the most frustrating good team in sports. They have the lowest payroll in sports, or the lowest payroll in baseball. One of the lowest payrolls in baseball. But somehow they always find themselves in first place like they are now. Because they get no hit and they beat teams 9-2. I don't know how they do it. They got this very low payroll, but they're gonna win 90 games this year somehow. The Indians are fun to watch, but they're never mind.
You're speaking Chinese to me here. This is the most excited you'll ever see me get about baseball, and that's because I'm just hamming it up right now.
How are you not a big Reds fan, though?
I
Y'all
mean,
have
well,
that.
look, man,
y'all have a
root for the Reds.
beautiful park, though. That park is amazing.
That's
Like
nice.
that park alone should make you a fan of the Reds. Like if I was,
I am a fan of the Reds. I'm a Reds fan. I just don't like baseball.
like if I was in Cincinnati, I'll be at the Red. I'll be at that stadium 3 times a week. That stadium's amazing, man. That I mean, like y'all football stadiums is okay, but y'all baseball stadium, that Great America Ballpark, that stadium's phenomenal, man. That stadium,
for sure.
I love that stadium.
From a stadium perspective, the Reds by far and away have the superior stadium. But I'm just not a baseball person. Like, and you are right. It is a bit sacrilegious for me to say stuff like that because, like, opening day and like baseball is such a
it started in Cincinnati
around here. I just don't. I enjoy going to Reds games, right? Like, I just don't do it very often, and I like watching it on TV is just like boring as all hell to me. It's so slow. And like, I mean, football can be kind of slow sometimes too, but I think the biggest difference is that I know so much about football that I'm able to find something to be interested in basically every second that something's happening. Whereas with baseball, I'm so like ignorant about it. I don't know like all the like runs, errors, fucking shortstop, and like, you know, who's on first and shit.
Hey, can I interrupt you to make a Pittsburgh still sucks a joke? Currently, the Reds are beating the Pittsburgh Pirates 14-1 because Pittsburgh still sucks.
No way. That's awesome. That's awesome. Fuck you, Pittsburgh. I will get
so go Reds.
Yeah, go Reds. Go Reds. And
I would love to see the Indians. I would love to see Indians Red World Series.
If the Reds were to make it to the World Series, I'd watch. I would. I'd watch. I'd turn it on. I'd be a good little Cincinnati sports fan, and I'd do my time. But dude, other than that, I can't do it.
The only way Cleveland and Cincinnati can meet in the championship game if the Indians and the Reds meet in the championship game, and that would be just insane if the Reds and the Indians had a World Series against each other.
And all Ohio sports championship.
Yo, first of all, that would be insane. Did you know the Indians and the Reds? The Indians and Reds. Fun fact for y'all: they share a minor league, not a minor league stadium. They share a spring training stadium. The owners got together and they decided to build this unique, one of a kind, state of the art spring training facility in Arizona. And in that stadium, they decided to also make this trophy. And every year they fight over this trophy because they play each other every year. And it's the Ohio Cup. That's the rivalry. There's actually a real trophy between the two teams. And it's a very nice trophy, actually. It's a very nice stadium. So it'll be really nice to have that trophy showcase during a World Series while also trying to get the World Series trophy, because that's how deep in history these two teams are intertwined. It's it's so much fun to watch these two teams go at each other. I mean, aside from the Battle of Ohio thing, and but it's a good rivalry. It's a good this is a good underline. They play the MLB makes sure they play every year, even though they're in two different. One's an American League, one's in the National League. But MLB's always y'all two have to play each other.
You actually just answered my question. I was gonna say, forgive what probably sounds like a really ignorant question, probably anybody listening. I was going to ask if those two are in different leagues because, to that's my knowledge, you have to be to play in the World Series together. That just seems weird to me.
They're in different leagues.
Different leagues, but they're like in-state rivals.
I mean, it just happened that way. The Indians kind of came up in the American League. The Reds started the National League.
The Browns technically be in the NFC when you think about it?
They probably should be, actually. You really think
because
about it.
Because they're an expansion franchise from a different league. They're not originally an NFL team, but they're also not an AFL expansion team. So maybe the current Browns, you could make the argument for the current Browns being an AFC team because they're like an expansion team and it really doesn't matter anymore. But like the original Browns, wouldn't have made more sense for them to be a NFC team?
I know. I agree. I completely agree.
And then the Steelers too. The Steelers, it makes no sense to me that the Steelers are an AFC team. Like,
I don't know. I'm pretty sure that whole thing happened. That whole realignment thing happened. Probably that had to happen in the 60s, right?
Well, the two leagues merged in 1970, I believe.
Yeah. But the because like I know like there has been some switching back and forth. There had to be, right? Because like just look at the Super Bowls.
Well, not really. Like, I mean,
wait, hold on. I mean something because we played because then the Browns played the Baltimore Colts in the NFL championship game.
Well, yeah, that was the Baltimore Colts.
Yeah, but the Colts they were into the Colts and the Browns are both in the AFC right now. So then they have to. This is an NFL films question, by the way. Comment in the comments if you know the history of conference realignment and stuff like that.
What was the question now?
Conference realignment.
What about conference? Like in 1970?
In the 1960s, yeah. And 70s. They're probably been the 70s.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I
mean, but you know, I mean, like, because like I'm pretty sure the Browns and the Colts played each other in the championship game, if I'm not mistaken. I know the Browns played the Lions in 4 straight NFL championship games. That really happened, which is insane. Can you imagine the Browns and Lions playing each other in 4 straight Super Bowls?
Yeah, so the 1964 NFL championship game, which was the last game that the Browns, the last Browns championship game at all, the Browns absolutely slaughtered the Baltimore Colts 27-0.
Yeah, take that, Baltimore. At that moment, Baltimore knew they were going to steal our team.
even though they wouldn't lose their team for like another 20 years.
Like, yeah, we lose this team, we're still in that team.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was almost exactly 24 years from that game because it was 1985 when the Colts moved to Baltimore or to Indy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was almost exactly 20 years from that game that happened.
By the way, way off topic, but I really hope St. Louis get a football NFL team one day. That's it. That's all I want to say to be off topic. We get back on topic whenever.
I mean, fair. I don't know if they will though. That's
I mean, like they should have never.
It's like if Jacksonville or Charlotte loses their NFL team, I don't see them getting another one. Or Cincinnati, by the way. I hate to say that, but if anything happens to the Bengals, we're not getting another NFL team. I don't think.
Man, it kind of sucks because like I hate the fact that you have 2 teams in LA. I hate the fact that you have 2 teams in LA, man. I honestly hate that. Like, I might be
the market's so big. Well, actually, I was gonna say the market's so big that you kind of have to have 2 teams soaking up all that.
But they don't like football. They don't like football like that in LA. I could confidently
they like college football.
Yeah, they like college football.
But I mean, if the Chargers are any like indication, it's like maybe LA isn't big enough for 2 teams.
But all I'm saying is that I mean, like they don't understand football like they understand football in the Midwest, man. Like that's all I'm like, this is how I feel about it, and like I don't care. I don't care who's watching this podcast and be offended by it. Like y'all don't deserve 2 NFL teams. Y'all just don't, because the Chargers had a soccer stadium and y'all couldn't sell that stadium out. But if there was 2 teams in Ohio in one city, if you put a team in Columbus, I promise you, if you put a team in Columbus and a team in Columbus played, a team in Cleveland played, the team in Cincinnati played, I promise you all 3 of those stadiums can fill up. But you put 2 teams in LA. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it would. Dude, people love football in this state, man. People breathe football in this state. Yeah, and you put a team in Columbus, you know how people in Columbus would be.
I don't think Columbus, and I know they play on different days, but still, I don't know if Columbus could really compete with their, absolute insanity for Ohio State.
That is true. Well, just that.
From a marketing
there is that. I mean, there is that. Yeah, there is that. So, you're right. But you're right.
We're going way too far in this tangent. Let's go ahead and get into these Bengals Browns topics. So the first thing I kind of want to talk about, and this is something that I actually kind of felt like I wish I'd talked about in the last episode. I actually did all my prep work on this like the day after we did the last episode. But I just want to bring it out because I'm still really confused about the value of taking a kicker in the 5th round. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. The more I look at Evan McPherson, the more I think that, I mean, once again, I was all on board with Evan McPherson before the draft. I just wasn't, so much in the 5th round. But I will say, though, in the Bengals' defense, this can turn into a really, really, really good decision if Evan McPherson does turn out to be as good as advertised. But the thing is, if he's just an average kicker, then this is a stupid decision. But, I mean, here's the thing. When you think about what could have been with the Bengals' 2020 season, I actually looked up the Bengals' first 9 games before Joe Burrow got hurt, and then the season's just lost anyway, and it doesn't really matter. And it's depressing just how different the season could have been leading up to that Week 11 game. There was a missed field goal that led directly to the Bengals losing to the Chargers in Week 1. They started out 0-1 instead of 1-0. A 1-0 start, you talk about momentum.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 31-yard field goal. 31-yard fild goal with 7 seconds left in the game. That could have tied it. But no, Randy Bullock got to get fucking leg cramps or some shit. I bet you anything Evan McPherson doesn't get leg cramps. A missed 48-yard field goal in the 4th quarter contributed to the collapse against the Colts. Had Bullock made that field goal after nailing a 55-yarder, by the way, in the 3rd quarter, the Bengals would have only been down 1 point on the final drive, and Joe Burrow probably wouldn't have felt quite as under pressure to like play hero ball. And we all know he ended up throwing an interception that kind of killed any chance we had in that game. But they probably would have felt like they were in field goal range. They probably would have felt like, okay, we're in field goal range. Let's try to get a touchdown. But if not, we can probably just kick a field goal and still win this game. Hopefully. Randy Bullock kicked the ball out of bounds on a kickoff against the Eagles.
The ball out of bounds.
And set them up in easy scoring position for their first touchdown in the game. The Bengals defense in particular was doing really well in that game until they scored, and then all hell kind of broke loose. Now this one's a bit of a stretch because that touchdown happened in the 2nd quarter. But like I said, it was a huge momentum killer. So heading into Week 11, the Bengals could have had a record of 5-4. Solidly in playoff contention, and likely wouldn't have seen anyone. None of these like fans that were just like putting up all these like fire Zach Taylor now kind of vibe. That wouldn't have not been here. Everybody would have been like, oh, Zach Taylor's pulling this team together, and Joe Burrow gets hurt. Maybe we missed the playoffs at that point. Everybody's disappointed, but everybody would have been like, man, this team was rolling. We might have been a playoff team if Joe Burrow hadn't gotten hurt. Like I said, 5-4 at going into Week 11, and especially with how strong we kind of finished the season, and with better quarterback play, we probably would have won a lot more of those games. So I don't think anybody would have been seriously calling for Zach Taylor's job. I don't think anybody would have been seriously talking about like how bad this team is, how everything needs to be, overturned and flipped over and stuff like that. At worst, I think a final record of 7-9, which would have been like, again, nobody's like excited about 7-9. That's after Joe Burrow goes down. And so I just think the momentum coming off of that would have given a lot more positivity this year. Then again, if that had happened, we might not have Jim Turner might not have quit. We might not have gotten Jamar Chase. We might not have gotten Jackson Carman. Well, we probably still would have gotten Jackson Carman. But we still wouldn't have gotten Jamar Chase. We wouldn't have had this opportunity to build the team like we're doing now. So, I mean, maybe you could call it a blessing in disguise. I don't know. I don't think that you really.
Kyle.
I think we had a really good opportunity for the 2nd year in a row to build on our roster that we wouldn't have had if we had like a 7-9 record. But at the same time, the buy-in and the belief would be a lot higher for Zach Taylor's regime.
Kyle, I am so happy you're finally coming around to this because I have been I have been a advocate of drafting a kicker and a punter since the very beginning of the NFL draft. And this is something y'all could probably. Did I say it on video? Did I say it on the podcast? I'm pretty sure I did, right?
I don't think so. But
God dang it,
I
did record it.
Taking a punter or a kicker at the beginning of the NFL draft, see Robert Aguayo.
No, but I've been saying it for a while. I should have said it while we were recording. I know. I said it over the phone to you while I was at the NFL draft. But anyway, that's not here or there. The point is that I've been a big component. I've been a big fan of drafting a punter or kicker because the kicker is one of the most important positions on the team in the NFL. I will wholesomely stick by that point because kickers have been losing NFL teams games, at a dramatic pace ever since they moved back the PAT. At a very dramatic pace. I don't know the statistics. I don't have statistics in front of me. Maybe next episode I will do statistics for you. Maybe by next episode I have statistics ready for you. But all I'm saying is kickers are very important. Do I have to tell you about the double doink by Cody Parkey? Who's actually on the Browns right now? Which is very scary for me because our team's going to be in the playoffs.
Hey, y'all might be able to get Austin Siebert back.
Yeah, no. So the whole thing, drafting a kicker is very important. But anyway, my whole point is that your kicker is the highest scoring. All jokes aside, the kicker is the highest scoring player on an NFL team, which means if you're going to have the highest scoring player on your NFL team, that means that you got to make sure that position is locked down. Because when you have a good kicker, it's like having a really good closer. Because you don't really think about the closer until you have to use them. Which is usually in a very high pressure situation.
Right.
So the only time you think about a kicker is when it's in a high pressure situation and you don't have a performer that can perform in that high pressure situation. That's worth a draft pick in itself. Because you basically spent a 5th round draft pick for somebody who could perform and will win you a game in a high pressure situation. And at this time, there are not a lot of kickers in the NFL that could perform in a high pressure situation. Honestly, tell me how many kickers in the NFL are you confident? Are you 100% confident in a very high pressure situation, game on the line, playoffs on the line, that you can make a 50-yard field goal for you? Well, how many kickers are you confident that will make that field goal? How many kickers in the NFL are you?
But you want to know something interesting? I'm not sure I'm confident in Evan McPherson to make that kick either.
I'm not either.
You know why? Because he's never made a game-winning field goal in his entire life.
Oh.
He's never attempted one.
Y'all might have drafted the wrong kicker.
What? I don't think he's ever been in the situation where he needed to make a game-winning field goal. But, I mean, that's my point. Like, he's never attempted a game-winning field goal. So, like, the clutchness, you don't really quite know if it's there or not. Now, I mean, we know he can do some amazing trick shots. We know he can hit some really, really impressive field goals for college-level kicker. But as far as, like, whether or not he can, like, not get leg cramps in crucial situations, yeah, that's still to be determined. But anyway, that's probably enough about kickers. Let's talk about this offensive. Let's talk about Frank Pollock and his little bit of drama that he stirred up. Now, first of all, I want to emphasize the fact that I don't think he was taking shots at anybody. He basically what this is coming from, as some may know and some may not know. He had an interview with Jeff Hobson at Bengals.com, and basically he was talking about what he brings to the table and why he thinks the offensive line is going to improve with him. And he said something along the lines of, we're going to teach these guys some techniques they probably haven't been exposed to for the last 2 years. Now that sounds like he's taking shots at Jim Turner, which fair enough, because fuck Jim Turner. But I don't think that's what Frank Pollock was trying to do. I think Bengals fans were just looking for, a fight. Have been looking for a fight with Jim Turner ever since he was hired here. Actually. And I think just the fact that there was possibly some shade thrown or something where you could like manufacture some shade. I think Bengals fans just decided to really take it to town and be like, we love Frank Turner. He's being fiery with Jim Turner. I'm like, no, he's not doing that. He's just talking himself up, guys. But I mean, here's the thing, you guys, y'all remember who was the offensive line coach 3 years ago, right? For the Bengals? Like he said, they haven't been exposed to these techniques for the last 2 years. Well, remember who was the head coach before 2 years ago? Not the head coach, the offensive line coach before 2 years ago. It was Frank Pollock. So he's probably saying, hey, these guys are going to be exposed to the techniques I'm trying to teach them, the same ones I was trying to teach them earlier, but I was only around for a year. So, I mean, like, I really don't think he's trying to stir up drama here. That said, I think it makes complete sense for people to make that connection because Turner's system was notoriously unable to actually teach these guys things that would help them, that would help their game, and mostly ran on a cycle of trying to assimilate guys' play styles with like abusive rhetoric to try to get guys to fall in line, which doesn't really, I mean, maybe something that can work with like college level players, but professionals typically aren't going to like stand for it.
Yeah.
A lot of drama. I don't think Pollock is intending to put focus on Jim Turner's screw-ups, though. I think he was just simply talking about what he brings to the table and what he thinks is going to help make the Bengals offensive line in 2021 successful. That said, no drama at all coming from the Cleveland Browns. All offseason. That's probably pretty nice, isn't it, Thomas?
You know, they can't even try to throw drama at us. Like, the best part is, you know, they freaking Max Kellerman up here going like, hey, Browns, y'all should trade for Aaron Rodgers. Andrew Berry's like, nope. Like, you sure? Nope. Andrew Berry, by the way, that dude, man. Like, I got a man crush on that dude. Like at first, it was like all love to Kevin Stefanski. But freaking Andrew Berry, though, like, this man, like he's just so smart. Like, he is so smart. Like, look how smart this dude is. Like Kyle, I'm editing a photo, putting the photo right here. Look how smart this dude looks. Look how gangster this dude looks. Look how genius this dude looks. But, you know, this is the reason why we don't have no drama in this organization. Because the Browns finally have a general manager who knows what he's doing. All we have to do is just go back to a couple of years. Freaking Ray Farmer, that idiot. Like, I mean, like this idiot. Like, wasn't Ray Farmer the one who drafted Johnny Manziel? Oh, I'm sorry. That was Jimmy Haslam.
Well, Jimmy Haslam's still there.
Yeah, I know. That's but you know, his wife is running the team now. That's why the team's been doing well. This is why you know Miss D Haslam, I love you. You are excellent. Jimmy, you've been doing a great job lately. But you know what I mean? Like, you know, like they had so many dumb general managers, man. We had so many drama in the offseason. We had the Browns drafting Johnny Manziel. We have Josh Gordon smoking too much weed and driving while smoking weed. I do not recommend that. We have so much stupid drama going on in the offseason during the Browns' previous eras. And now we have drama-free. It's a great time to be a Browns fan. Not gonna win.
All the talk surrounding the Browns this offseason has been, what should the Browns do to their roster?
We have Fat Forrest Gump.
By the way, is what you're supposed to talk about in the offseason.
You remember Fat Forrest Gump? You remember Fat Forrest Gump?
Yeah.
You know, what's his name? Freddie Kitchens?
Yep.
I don't want to stop before I get in trouble. The
whole thing is, this is an independent podcast.
Oh, you're right. Well, Fat Forrest Gump. I can control the egos in our locker room. We got the wishbone and the reverse wishbone. It's when you take the wishbone and you turn it around. It's a reverse wishbone. Even though a wishbone is perfectly symmetrical, so when you turn it around, you got a reverse wishbone.
It doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. But that's what he said. He called it a reverse wishbone. I don't know what the heck is a reverse wishbone. If I'm be honest, I don't know what a regular wishbone is. But it
the
is,
Lions head coach talking about biting people's kneecaps off makes more sense than that.
I'm from Alabama. I'm a tough man. I'm not gonna give you smart and sophisticated words, but I do know football.
Okay.
Freddie Kitchens, man.
Yeah, no.
I can control egos. I'm not worried about Odell Beckham. He's my best friend.
So you mentioned the little bit of drama that tried to get stirred up this offseason was the Baker Mayfield and Aaron Rodgers drama.
Yeah.
But that seems like it's just been completely shot in the foot.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to read the article because it was behind a paywall, but sounds like per Mary Kay Cabot of Cleveland.com, the Browns are 100% not interested in bringing in Aaron Rodgers in exchange for Baker Mayfield because they're, quote, all in on Baker Mayfield.
As they should be.
As they should be. I figured this in particular would make you really happy because that's the right move for the Browns, Yeah. And, I mean, not that, and we talked about it before, not that Aaron Rodgers isn't probably I don't want to say more talented. Like he's just a better quarterback right now than Baker Mayfield, and probably is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield will ever be. I mean, let's just be honest. He's one of the
I think he's better than Baker. Yeah, he is.
He's
insane how talented that guy is.
I don't think he makes the Browns better. I think he certainly brings the Browns' talent level up, but as a cohesive football team, I think, as I said in the last podcast, you're losing leadership in particular. Yeah. And you are gaining talent, but I don't think you're gaining so much more talent that suddenly you go from losing some of these games to winning some of these games. Because I think Baker Mayfield's done a fine job.
No, I think Baker Mayfield's doing a great job. I think Baker Mayfield's going to take another step forward. And that's another thing that we got to talk about is how high is Baker Mayfield's ceiling really is. Like we haven't seen Baker Mayfield best yet. Like, we talk about Joe Burrow, we talk about Baker Mayfield. Well, a lot of times I feel like we are talking about these players. This is one of the reasons why I have trouble with Lamar Jackson. Because Lamar Jackson always get bubbled in the same conversation as Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield, and Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. The reason why Lamar Jackson has a heads up in those two right now is because I honestly believe we have seen the absolute peak of Lamar Jackson. I think Lamar Jackson right now is at his very peak. I think that right now is the best we have seen of Lamar Jackson and the best that we're going to see of Lamar Jackson. I don't think that it could get any better from what Lamar Jackson is doing right now. Maybe a little bit better, but I think Lamar Jackson is plateauing. I think Baker Mayfield and Joe Burrow, we haven't seen their best yet. So when it comes to trading Aaron Rodgers or trading for Aaron Rodgers, you're saying that we're trading for what Baker Mayfield is right now. And I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is going to ever have, because that talent, that raw talent, like you said, that Aaron Rodgers have, is just something that Baker Mayfield doesn't have yet. Or just something that Baker Mayfield just don't have at all. But Baker Mayfield can still improve as a quarterback, because I don't think that Baker Mayfield have reached his peak as a quarterback yet. I think Baker Mayfield's prime is still about 3 or 4 years away. I think Baker Mayfield is going to improve every single year from here on out for the next 5 years. And I think that if you trade away this quarterback right now, he already have achieved a lot in 3 years for a quarterback. Like he's done a lot for a quarterback in 3 years. Like it is very amazing. Or 4 years, I'm sorry. You talk about somebody who won a playoff game, talking about somebody who broke Peyton Manning's record, talking about somebody who beat a rival that's been owning the Browns for 25 years. Like he has accomplished a lot in his very young career. He has done much in his very young career, and he's only going to improve because we haven't seen his best yet. And people are judging Baker Mayfield for what he is now. I'm judging Baker Mayfield for what his potential is and what I see his trajectory is. And I think that his trajectory is still like this. I think Baker Mayfield's trajectory is still going like this. Aaron Rodgers has plateaued. In fact, if anything, Aaron Rodgers has gone down because he's getting older. So with that said, you're getting a guy that's going to only be here for a couple of years, who's going to be a cancer in the locker room, who doesn't get us, who doesn't get the locker room, who doesn't get the players like Baker Mayfield does. I don't know, man. It's just a stupid trade. It's just a stupid trade. You don't trade one of the best young quarterbacks in the game right now. Just don't do that because Baker Mayfield won't be a quarterback for the next 15 years. Go ahead, Kyle. I'm sorry.
You're fine. That was good, and I'm glad you kept going because that was probably more important than what I was going to say. I was going to say I completely disagree with you about Lamar Jackson. You said that he reached his peak in 2020. I think that's absolutely ridiculous because I think he reached his peak in 2019.
No, he had a better season in 2019.
I think he's on the downslide already.
Wow. Wow. I mean, well, he did have a better 20, but he did have COVID in 2020 though. Did he have COVID last year? Yeah, he did have COVID.
Okay.
I mean, but like so he missed a couple of games with that, but even still, with that before that and after that, he wasn't nearly as threatening. And it seems like the cat is at the bag on him. You know, I mean, unless he's. My thing is, I say it on this podcast, say it every single episode, until Lamar Jackson creates a pocket presence, the Ravens won't be a Super Bowl contender. That's simple. He gotta create a pocket presence. He gotta learn how to manipulate that pocket. You gotta learn how to use that pocket and learn how to throw that ball consistently. I mean, he can throw it. Like people always point his passing stats, but all of his throws are through the thread of the run. Like, oh, he's gonna run. We gotta, you gotta play both. So I mean, I don't know. I'm no $1 million analyst, but I mean, it's pretty apparent that NFL teams are figuring this guy out. It's very apparent. I mean, he's fun to watch, but I mean, like, oh, look at that trick. Oh, another trick. Oh, another trick. But that's exactly what they are. They're tricks. So now people are trying to figure out how to solve these magic tricks.
Yeah, I agree. And in particular, the offensive, the whole offense that the Ravens run.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, you saw the way they drafted. They pretty much they're not trying to innovate their offensive system. They're just trying to double down on it.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun to watch. How that.
So bit of I don't want to call it breaking news, because it was something that I saw a couple hours before we recorded this podcast, but definitely recent stuff that probably needs to at least be discussed with the Bengals. Apparently, one of the Bengals free agent targets from before the draft, Trey Turner, is reported to be seeking $2 to $3 million to sign a 1-year deal this year, which is a relatively low amount of money, right? Especially for a 1-year guy of Trey Turner's potential, not so much his recent work, but anyway, this was a guy who a lot of Bengals fans were saying, like, we need to make a big run to go get Trey Turner because he's so much better than the guys that we currently have on the roster. And I'm going to be honest, I said this on Twitter, but I'm not interested anymore in Trey Turner. I'm not sure I'd be interested in Trey Turner anymore for like a veteran minimum, probably. Yeah. If he wants to come in and compete in camp and, try to beat out one of the other guys that we have. But I mean, as far as, the guard position goes, it seems like we're going to try to plug Jackson Carman in at right guard. And if he's anywhere close to as good as what we've been hearing, then I think he's pretty much going to have the right guard position locked down this year. And on the other, at left guard, you're going to have Quentin Spain and Xavier Su'a-Filo battling it out. And then the winner is going to be the starter. And then the loser is going to be the backup. Is going to be the depth piece between Quentin Spain and Trey Turner, not between Quentin Spain and Xavier Su'a-Filo. So, I mean, it just seems like to me, I don't know if Trey Turner is any better than Quentin Spain or Xavier Su'a-Filo. I mean, I think like maybe the ceiling's a little higher for him, but as far as what I think the Bengals would actually be getting, I think he'd at best be somebody you'd bring in as like, a veteran minimum depth piece. And that's pretty much it. And then even then, you're not even sure if he's going to make the roster because, you do have a lot of guard, like interior offensive line talent now. And before the draft, the Bengals really needed to make a run at it, but they made a run at it in the draft. You got Jackson Carman, and then you got Trey Hill, that center that we drafted in the 6th round. On top of that, you got, plenty of guys on the interior for depth. So I don't see a spot for Trey Turner to come in and exist on the Bengals roster now.
I mean, I guess it does mean darts at the board is possible to make sure something stick.
I guess. And on that note, apparently the Bengals reached out to D.D. Westbrook, the former Jaguars wide receiver who doesn't appear to be going back now. Apparently another team that reached out to him was the Chiefs, and they'd probably be looking to make him their number 2 wide receiver. So I don't know why on earth anybody would be thinking that D.D. Westbrook would. I mean, yeah, maybe the Bengals reached out to him, but I don't know why he would come here, because he would at best, I think, be the 4th receiver. Because there's no way he's going to overtake Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, or Tyler Boyd. He might play a backup slot role for Tyler Boyd, but why would he want to play a backup role like that when he can probably go be a starting wide receiver on a wide receiver needy team?
We trying to make Tim Tebow your tight end.
Well, hey, I mean, look, how is that guy back? That doesn't even make any sense to me. Look, he hasn't played in the NFL since 2015. And he wasn't even playing, right? He was just
oh my God.
He was an offseason squad member.
By the way, your reaction to that, by the way, like your change of pace was just freaking hilarious.
Look, this is the Jacksonville Jaguars podcast, so I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I will say I am flabbergasted. Tim Tebow is
this is my reaction. I'm literally crying because it's so freaking funny.
And I guess
it is such an Urban Meyer thing to do.
Well, yeah.
Oh my
God. If it was going to be anywhere, I guess it would have had to be with Urban Meyer, because
Urban Meyer's going to get fired in a year.
Before now, all we've heard is that Tim Tebow refuses to play in the NFL unless he refuses to play football unless he gets to play quarterback. But somehow Urban Meyer talked him into playing tight end.
I can't wait for Urban Meyer to get fired from the Jaguars. People gonna be like, "Well, why did he get fired?" I mean, his first move after drafting.
You know what? With all the talent the Jaguars have now on their roster, if they don't start winning, then I think Urban Meyer's not long for the NFL.
Oh my God!
So all I'll say is he better start winning.
Okay, maybe Tim Tebow might be decent. Maybe he might, he actually, you know what though? That's probably something Tim Tebow should have done in the first place, to try tight end instead of trying to quarterback, because he's built like a tight end. He understands football. He understands football way more than baseball.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's funny. Definitely funny.
All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the state of the AFC North. So one thing that, like I said, with the Trey Turner news, this news, if you can really call it that, broke probably about 6 or 7 hours before we started recording, and something that actually broke about 6 or 7 hours before the last episode before we recorded the last episode that we missed, that probably would have been better to talk about on the last episode, was that the Ravens signed Alejandro Villanueva, the offensive tackle from the Steelers. So I guess the decision to not take a tackle in the first round after moving on from Orlando Brown Jr. doesn't look quite as questionable now. But that said, Villanueva sucks. Let's be honest. I looked up his PFF grades for the 2020 season. This might be part of why the Steelers didn't bring him back. He ranked 176th in run blocking in 2020 of all offensive linemen in the NFL, with a 60.9 overall grade for the whole season. And he was the 120th graded pass blocker in true pass sets in 2020 with a 59.8 overall grade. So regardless of the way that you're looking at it, it's still a massive downgrade from Orlando Brown, who graded a 73 in run blocking and a 75.1 in pass sets, in true pass sets. So most likely next year offensive line or offensive tackle is still going to be a pretty big need for the Ravens. So it's like they kind of plugged the hole here by replacing Brown with Villanueva, but I'm kind of questioning what the Ravens are. Are they just putting all of their efforts into like certain areas of the line so that because they know they have such a strong running quarterback? Like if you just don't bother protecting the edges because Lamar Jackson will just run up the middle. I mean, I guess that seems like it's got to be the logic to me.
Man, it's just roast Lamar Jackson day today.
Well, in this case, it's not us doing the roasting. It's going to be the opposing offenses that are going to be roasting him, like over a fire.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be a great season. I'm telling you, man. The Bengals are gonna finish second in the division behind the Browns.
Well, if they actually live up to their potential, which they've really struggled doing the last 2 years under Zach Taylor, but if they do live up to their potential, I don't see why they can't. Because I really don't see the AFC North. Like, we always, kind of take pride, regardless of how good or bad our teams are. We always take pride in the fact that the AFC North is one of the strongest divisions in football year in and year out. But yes. I really don't think it's going to be this year. I think it's actually, I think the Steelers are headed for a collapse of epic proportions. The Ravens, I think, are, declining. And then we don't know what we're getting with the Bengals yet. Like, I mean, maybe they do live up to their potential, but we'll just have to see if they if the on paper talent matches the on field results. So you basically got the Browns being the only team that you're confident is going to be making a run at the playoffs this year. And other than that, the AFC North just kind of looks like a mess.
No, I think I think this well, first of all, all right, let me say this. I think the Steelers are going to be a good team. I think the Steelers are going to be a decent team. I don't think the Steelers are going to be scrubs.
We'll see.
No, they might be. Might be.
I'm really not.
They might be.
Vision. I'm really not seeing the vision with the Steelers right now because, we talked about it. They took a running back with their first overall pick, their first round pick. Very good running back, but if nobody's blocking for him, it's like you can't. No NFL player on the planet has ever been strong enough to break through 11 tackles simultaneously. Like, that's just not possible.
So I think the Ravens are going to be an 8-8 team next year. I think the Ravens are going to be an 8-8 team. I think the Ravens are going to be an average team next year. I think the Browns are going to be really good, obviously. I think the Bengals are going to be a 10-1 team next year. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a season that rivals Randy Moss next year. I think Jamar Chase is going to be that good. I'm really excited about that kid. I'm really excited about the Bengals this season. I'm really excited about this team and just Joe Burrow coming back. I think Joe Burrow is going to have a season similar to what Deshaun Watson had when he came back. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I'd be really excited.
Oh, hey, you know what? On that note, I actually did have something I wanted to talk about that relates Tim Tebow to this podcast.
Okay.
So if Tim Tebow starts next year, like if he earns a starting job for the Jacksonville Jaguars in 2021, regardless of how well he performs, does Joe Burrow have a chance at comeback player of the year? Because Tim Tebow hasn't played in the NFL in 6 years.
I mean, you know they're giving that award to Tim Tebow. You know they're giving that award to Tebow, man. Because the media, the reason why Tebow gonna get that award is because Tim Tebow was a part of the media, and the media are going to vote for somebody they think is a part of them. It's
right. That's what I'm saying. So
it's what's going to happen. You gotta know how it's going to go.
That's pretty much what I'm saying.
It should go to Joe Burrow. Because honestly, but here's the thing though. Here's the honest thing though. Like actually, I wouldn't be surprised if Tim Tebow does well at tight end because like that's actually a position that actually set him well. That's his body type. He understands the game of football. He wasn't. I mean, go back and watch Tim Tebow's tape. Like one thing that made him dangerous was he was actually a dual threat quarterback. He was big. He was a freaking running back. He was a tight end. He was a quarterback in a tight end body. That's what he was. So I mean, he was the original Taysom Hill. So I'm not it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually really good at tight end. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he's actually really good at tight end. It just wouldn't surprise me. That's actually something I can actually see that happen. He's somebody who understands football. Like he understands, like not just like throw ball, catch ball type stuff. Like no, he understands like the intricacies of football. So he probably knows how to play. I bet you he knows how to block. I bet you damn well he probably knows how to block. He's probably a really good blocker on the low. So I'm not.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's got the inside track for comeback player of the year, regardless of if Joe Burrow comes in and has like an MVP season or something like that. I think it's hard to argue with him.
Yeah, but I'm with you. I think it's what
Tebow is. And the fact that he hasn't played in the NFL in 6 years, and the fact that he's coming back to play a completely different position, I think it's going to be pretty hard to wrestle that award away from him this year. It's kind of like last year with Alex Smith, except maybe not quite that extreme. But
Alex Smith
anybody other than Alex Smith winning that award last year?
No,
even if he didn't start, I think he could have been a backup the whole year, and as long as he threw one pass, he would have won that award.
Oh, but but Alex Smith was a champion though. Like that.
Yeah, he took the team to the playoffs.
Yeah, nah. I mean, worst division of sports, but still
taking a losing team to the playoffs is, not nothing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because to be completely honest, if Alex Smith had played at quarterback the whole year, I don't think Washington would have been a losing team. Now, also, who knows if Alex Smith's body could have actually handled playing the whole year, but still.
Yeah.
They finished 7-9, right? So
that's true. Yeah,
I think Alex Smith playing the whole year might have been worth at least one more win, if not two.
Okay. Yeah, fine. I thought it was funny when it still
especially over Dwayne fucking Haskins.
Yeah. That's
who,
true.
As a reminder, by the way, to get back to the state of the AFC North, as a reminder, is the Steelers' backup quarterback right now.
No, Mason Rudolph's their backup quarterback, right?
Well, yeah, but Dwayne Haskins is in there, and presumably he's I'm thinking Dwayne Haskins might be their hope to be the guy to take over for Ben Roethlisberger. They're hoping they can fix him.
Yeah, you're not fixing that man.
No, you're not fixing him, and the Steelers definitely aren't fixing that man.
You have a better chance with what's his face, Mason Rudolph.
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, where is Josh Rosen right now? By the way,
he's in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
I don't understand what's up with that guy because
I liked him coming out of college.
Is he one of the biggest busts of all time now?
No.
Because
pressure.
Well, no,
I thought he was really good though.
Bust of all time. I mean, obviously the top three is obviously Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf, and Achilles Smith. I'm not saying he's the biggest bust of all time. I'm saying he's got to be up there, right? At least top 10.
He's definitely the biggest bust from the last few years, though.
Yeah.
It's kind of frustrating because he was actually really good. He was actually really good in college. His throws, some of his throws that he made while in college were actually just insane. It's insane. I'm actually really frustrated how his career is turning out.
Yeah. But, I mean, from what I understand, it's a lot of his fault, too, because it sounds like he just doesn't have the right attitude.
Yeah. I mean, even at the pros, man, I remember watching his rookie season. He threw some dimes to when he played for the Cardinals. He threw some dimes to that kid. Who's that young receiver they got in Arizona? I can't think of his name right now. He was a rookie that year, too. Oh my God, he's so good too. The other young receiver. Oh, I can't think of. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. What's the name of the young receiver from Arizona? It's like his fourth year. He came in the same year that Baker Mayfield and Josh Rosenwald came out. I can't think of his name. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now.
They've completely turned over their whole receiving core, so it's.
They did. Yeah, here, let me see. Let me look. Arizona Cardinals.
What year was that?
That would have been. Christian Kirk is who I'm thinking of. Christian Kirk.
He is still on the team.
Yeah, Christian Kirk. Yeah. Christian Kirk. Yeah. I remember he threw some Josh Rosen used to steal some bombs to Christian Kirk. That's how I became a fan of Christian Kirk. I was like, oh, this kid is awesome. And then Christian Kirk. Yeah, I actually picked up Christian Kirk in my fantasy team that year. I got him on. He won me a game in fantasy.
There you go.
Hey, shout out to him.
But anyway, to get back to the state of the AFC North, we got to talk about the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Squealers.
The Pittsburgh Squealers.
So as I said at the beginning of the episode, the Steelers are another team that I kind of had trouble finding something to talk about because there haven't really been a whole lot of news stories for them. But I have been noticing, I was browsing through their SB Nation page, which is behind the steel curtain. That's where I was trying to find the news sources. And like every other article I saw, man, was just somebody trying to find some, different way to like some different way to look at the Steelers offseason so far and try to spin it in a way that, it actually makes sense. Like you weren't thinking about it the right way, but when you think about it this way, they just look so good. Like they were like, as the Steelers draft actually makes sense because of this factor, that because of this factor, that factor, and the other factor. I mean, it's just nothing but justifying what has honestly been a pretty trash offseason for them.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are like my current hero state right now. I could comb it, make it look okay, but it's not as good as it was a little bit ago. It's not as good as it was when I first got my hair cut. Because I didn't go get another lineup. I could comb it. I could pick it out as much as I want. And it might look good on camera. But when you come in person, you'll be like, damn, Thomas, you didn't get a lineup. The Pittsburgh Steelers, get a freaking lineup. Or better yet, get a whole new goddamn haircut. Because your hair looking messy, Pittsburgh. My hair don't look that bad on camera right now, actually. I look pretty damn handsome. But that's not here or there. I need to go get a hair. I need to go get a lineup. Because you see me in person, you'd be like, damn, Thomas, get a lineup. Same thing with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, get a freaking lineup. Get your line in order.
Or don't actually. I'm actually totally cool if you want to keep doing things the way you're doing them now because it's funny.
It is pretty funny watching them.
By the way, Juju Smith-Schuster sounds like he came back to Pittsburgh because nobody wanted to pay him. Like it wasn't just like, the whole like, I felt like coming back to the Steelers, a place that I'm familiar with, blah, 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 blah. No, he described the whole free agency stint as, quote, more nerve-wracking than draft day. So basically he had to settle for a prove game with the Steelers after seemingly thinking he proved it already. And I mean, he's not the only one who thought that. I mean, you've heard a lot of people talking about like, Juju Smith-Schuster, he's like a really good wide receiver. And I don't see why anybody thought that. But that was generally the general like thought process is, most people thought he was one of the best wide receivers in this year's free agency class. And it took him forever to get signed. And when he did get signed, he basically had to take a prove-it deal with the Steelers. So I think this whole idea that Juju Smith-Schuster is a top-tier wide receiver is ridiculous.
Dude, I have better PR than freaking Juju Smith-Schuster does right now. Like this dude, man. Like this dude, like for one, you don't know how to shut up. You're still talking smack about the Browns. Like why? like why? Like it's just like ever since you got knocked off your feet against the Bengals in that Monday Night Football game. Your stock has just been plummeting ever since. Your stock has just been plummeting ever since.
Pretty much.
I got the hiccups.
And I think that might have had something to do with why he didn't get much interest in free agency, was because I think everybody saw that whole scenario and how he basically got embarrassed on national television. And I think NFL teams look at that and they're like, okay, so like you talk big and there's some stuff there, but like, I mean, when push comes to shove, it doesn't seem like you do anything, bro.
Can you imagine being an NFL team trying to advertise this guy coming to your NFL team? Hey, come to the bank. Hey, look, I'm sorry. Like say like the I don't know, like the Miami Dolphins signed my Juju SmithSchuster. Hey, we just signed this Juju SmithSchuster guy. Here we go, video. We're gonna knock on his ass by the Cincinnati Bengals.
That'd be pretty
on Monday
good,
Night Football after he danced on the logo.
One of the Dolphins' biggest problems last year was just like their receivers just couldn't seem to catch anything. Like, you know, people were just dropping the ball left and right. And it's like, you know, you're not going to feel any better about that after you see Juju SmithSchuster get rocked by Von Bell and drop the ball and fumble.
I think what would make it worse is the fact that Juju SmithSchuster danced on what 8 teams logos last year.
Well,
so
right. He made it worse on himself than he really needed.
So that's 8 NFL teams are not going to sign you right there just because you dance on their logo. Like you think an NFL team is going to sign you think an NFL team is going to sit there and go like, oh, he's a free agent this year, by the way. He just danced on our logo and spiked the ball for his TikTok video. So you're impressed. TikTok people, watch out, Charlie D'Amelio.
Right.
Allison Ray and Juju SmithSchuster. What a freaking idiot. Look, man. Like, I'm not saying you can't make TikTok videos because I'm not one of those people who say, oh, yeah, I want my NFL stars making TikTok videos. Fine, you know, you want to make social media, fine, you know, make your money. Go ahead, make your money because, you know, y'all are stars, are entertainers. And entertainers are yourself. Yeah, but don't make it. Yeah, exactly. Don't be. There's a difference between doing something and being respectful about it. And Juju SmithSchuster wasn't respectable about it. That is how it is. And when you're being an idiot, you're not being respectful about what you're doing. Then you know, stupid stuff happens. So, karma, bitch.
And it was sweet, sweet, sweet karma. But anyway, guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast. You can always find more of me talking about anything at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter, Facebook.com/The Phelps. Every once in a while, I'm putting up my own like videos, not really podcast style, but just videos on my own YouTube page, which is just Kyle Phelps. You can find Thomas at T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram, and the Blowdown page on YouTube. So just hit us up, and if you ever want to come on an episode, just let one of us know, and we'll find a time for you to get on. I actually got a guy, a Vikings fan, who I'm talking about having him on, who's apparently going to be in Cincinnati for the Bengals Vikings game that whenever that happens next year. So, and I'm fully vaccinated. I'm not sure if he's fully vaccinated or not, but we might actually have an in-person guest on for the first time.
Yeah, get your vaccination. Yeah, by the way, Pittsburgh still sucks. That's all I got for y'all.
All right, so I'll leave y'all with a who day.
Pittsburgh sucks.